Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Success Secrets Revealed live stream show. This is Ronald Couming. I am your host, and I want to again welcome you back to this show. I want to first introduce the show, the purpose of the show, our sponsor, and then today's guest. Today's guest is going to be Yuri Choi, and she is a magnificent mindset coach. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how mindset can really set you apart. It can be the difference between success and failure. You know, oftentimes, like Jim Rohn says, what happens to us pretty much happens to everyone. How we use that, you know, did it happen to us or did it happen for us? So we're going to get into all that. But first, again, you're listening to Success Secrets Revealed. That's the purpose of this show, is to bring on subject matter experts, people who have had success in various different fields. So it's not linear, you know, it's widespread. So this show has, you know, value for a whole host of different people. Okay, so don't think you have to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. If you want to be, or no matter what business you're offering, this show has something for you. The show is sponsored by RCS Online Solutions, and that's my company where we help business owners and entrepreneurs much like you attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success using various internet marketing techniques and methods. And let's just be totally honest. At the end of the day, you can have the best product, the best service, the best website, the best copy, the best funnels, the best everything. But if people can't find you, you don't have anything. Okay, so that's that for now. So what I'd like to do is now I want to introduce our guest today, and that's Yuri Choi, and she is the CEO of Yuri Choi Coaching, and she helps high performance and entrepreneurs achieve powerful results through helping them leverage their emotional state and energy to create powerful results and help them live a life full of deep fulfillment and peace. She is a speaker, writer, connector, and has a book that is being published this year, Creating Your Own Content. Everybody, please help me welcome Yuri Choi.
Hi, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. How are you doing?
I'm good. So I just want to edit. It's creating your own happiness, which can turn into the content of your life.
That's your book that's coming up this year, right?
Yes.
Can you say it again, please?
Creating your own happiness.
Excellent. And I got to tell you, you know, the first time I met you, I believe was maybe 24 months ago. It was at Eric Swanson's event, Habitude Warrior Conference.
Yes.
And I seen you up on the stage as you were a co-MC.
Yep.
Then you went up and you spoke as an MC. I thought you were doing great because, you know, you were controlling the audience and everything was just like a natural flow. But then when you started to speak and I started listening to you, I was like, wow. I mean, the depth of what you have to offer is far beyond that little tiny bio I gave. So can you please tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and how you help people?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me, Ron. It's so good to see you. I know when we were hopping on in the backstage, I'm like, I just want to hug you. And I know you're super far. So yeah, it's super good to be here and grateful. And yeah, what I'm really passionate about is helping stressed out entrepreneurs and high performers really live a life full of laughter, oneness, vulnerability, and ease. And you don't have to be stressed out. I actually help 3 different kinds of high performers. So number one, these are people who are, you know, going through some kind of changes, some kind of, shift in their life or business, whether they're going from corporate to, you know, entrepreneur, or maybe they're going through some kind of breakup or divorce in their life. So, you know, things are shifting and they're looking to get more clarity and looking to get kind of like, get clarity on what's going to happen next. The second type of high performers that I help are people who are, you know, doing well. They look successful. They look like they're doing well. And, you know, deep down, there's something missing and they don't know what it is. And they want to find that deep fulfillment. And the third type of entrepreneurs and high performers that I help, these are people who are doing well. They are seemingly, you know, pretty happy, and they want to also look at what else they can do to up level their life and business by looking at their emotional management and awareness, spirituality, the blind spots that are not typically discussed in a typical business coaching setting. So I'm really passionate about what I do because I really believe that people sometimes miss the point of doing everything, all the things that we do, all the things that we create. But why are we doing that? It's so that we can be happy. And a lot of times we're chasing this happiness when that happiness is right now. That fulfillment can be offered right now through our mindset, just like you were saying.
I love it. And as you're talking, I'm thinking a couple of years ago, I got into a car accident, and I was not at fault. But I went into physical therapy. And when you go in there, they were talking to us about disconnecting to reconnect. So they were telling us to just turn our phone off so we could then reconnect with our bodies and deal with the physical therapy. But listening to you, it just brings all that back, because sometimes we get so focused on what we're doing and how we're doing it and why we're doing it and where we want to go and where we were and blah, 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 blah. We forget who we are. We are not present. We are in the future or we're in the past. And we're not in the present. We're not enjoying what we've accomplished. And, our goal setting is, not fundamentally accurate because we're kind of lost. So I love, just listening to your, in the 3 different steps of people that you help pretty much cover everybody. So if you had like an ideal customer or client, who would that be? And what would be some of the signs of people that might need your, what you offer, and how could they benefit from it? Because the type of people that listen to this show are business owners, entrepreneurs, and those who want to be. And then you have people who are, just going to tune in because they are. So there is a vast host of potential people here that you might be able to help. And they might not even be business owners. They might just be a stressed out W-2 who has 5 kids, and you know what I mean?
So, W-2, I like that.
You know what I mean? Life is life at the end of the day, right? We're all just trying to survive. So I don't want to limit you. I don't want to limit them. So let's just talk about how we can help people.
Yes. So actually, I want to go off of what you were saying. And I don't think we're all just trying to survive, even if it seemingly seems that way at times. So my whole thing is, if you do feel like you're in this mode of survival, let's actually bring that back to a place of creativity, place of fun, place of, actually creating, not just surviving, actually thriving, not just surviving. So with that said, the symptoms of someone that I can potentially help. And by the way, I come from the framework that there is nothing to fix. So, there's nothing to fix. You're already perfect. You're already complete. You're already whole. So this isn't necessarily about fixing anything in your life. But if you feel like you really want to get to the next step and you just haven't really found, what it is, like, what is that thing that's missing? And it's hard for you to point out. It's hard for you to actually pinpoint what that is. Then we get to actually get super clear on what's going on. And so we can get clear on what that next step could be. And to be honest with you, every single person, it's different for every single person. Everyone's had such a beautiful, different life. And so it's really looking at everything that you've experienced up until this point and saying, okay, like knowing that everything is happening for you, what can we learn? What lessons did we miss there? What can we learn more about, your life and where you're headed from here? And that actually goes back to emotions. So, I have clients, and I've worked with all sorts of clients. I, have worked with like financial advisors, salespeople. I've worked with professional pianists, like a concert pianist. I've worked with lawyers. I've worked with people who are trying to leave their awesome job so that they can have a life that's even more awesome towards what they're creating. So all different kinds of people. One thing that's been common for them is that, they're really committed to creating that next level for them, to create more fun, create more flow, creating more love and connection in their life.
I love it. And to me, that's super important. At the end of the day, I I don't want to know if it's the Old Testament or the New Testament, but if you achieve the world, but you kind of like lose yourself, what did you really achieve at the end of the day, right? So what you're talking about to me sounds like it's really, if somebody is, even if they're super successful or they have some level of success, but they just feel like there's something missing, it's just not, you might not be able to put your finger on it. What are some of the things that they might be able to recognize, some type of triggers? I mean, right now, being outside of it, we can hear that. But if we're in it, we wake up in the morning and things just don't feel right. We're a little bit sluggish. We're go, 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 and we're achieving so much. But we're kind of like, damn, why, right? So what are some of the signs that people can see? Because at the end of the day, if they can address the issues you're talking about, they can go on to achieve, even more significant success in their lives, both professionally and personally. So it's super important that people can connect and understand what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could look like sleep disturbances. Maybe you're having a hard time falling asleep because you have so much on your mind. You're anxious, you're stressed out, you can't turn your mind off. I've had people who come to me after they're at a wedding and they are just so disappointed in themselves because even though they're at their best friend's wedding, they can't turn off their phone, they can't turn off their mind. Everyone's asking you, like, why can't you be here? Where are you? I have clients who resort to different, negative habits like drinking, smoking, partying, whatever, to really numb out what's really going on. So it could be a number of different, surface level symptoms. And, what I love doing is going deeper to see, like, what are you avoiding? What are you really numbing out from? And some additional things, it could look like anger. It could look like bursts of anger that destroys relationships. It could look like you feeling like you're trapped. You're feeling like people are nagging at you. You feeling like you don't have control over your life or your emotions. This could look like feeling disconnected and isolated, or even lonely, even though you have a lot of friends around you. Or maybe you don't. You focus so much on your work, or you focus on different things in your life that you forgot to know what that really feels like to have that genuine connection, that deep connection that fulfills your heart. So yeah, it could look like a number of ways. It could also look like you just knowing that just going to this job, while it's paying your bills, it's, helping you get to where you want to be financially, it's not getting you anywhere, as far as your growth, like your soul's growth and your soul's evolving. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, it absolutely does. And because a lot of times people, they're going through the motions and they're having the success, and they might not be feeling as happy as they should be or as fulfilled as they should be, but they might not be truly aware that there is something amiss. You know what I mean?
What was that? Do you have a monster back there?
No, there was actually a truck.
It sounded like one of those monsters from like Monsters Inc.
Yeah. Whoops. Let me just close the window then, right?
I was like,
And,
either that or you have like a big dog or something.
Yeah, no, there was just a truck going by. But I absolutely love it, because oftentimes we get so focused on what we're doing, what we want to do. We get up in the morning, we write down our goals, we have our to-do list or our achievement list or our 10 by 10, or, there's so many different things that you can subscribe to. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just, after weeks and weeks and months, you go through it and it's like, bam, you know what I mean? So I love what you're talking about, because I really think, I know I felt those things. I mean, I just had one of those things yesterday that you were just talking about. But so if somebody wanted to dig a little bit deeper, let's say they actually recognize some of those signs that you're talking about, and they wanted to dig a little bit deeper, what would be like what would be the first or second or third step that they could possibly go into? The first would obviously be contacting you, and please give your contact information. But beyond that, what are the first steps? First, you have to, awareness is the key, right? And then, taking action, not just saying, okay, something's amiss, or it just doesn't feel right. So what would be the steps for people at this point?
Yeah, I believe the first thing that we get to do is detach, so that you don't make your worth, you don't make your being about your behavior. Like, can you actually detach so that you know that you're not your anxiety, you know that you're not your emotions, you know that you're not the problems, you know that you're not any of those things. There's something else, within you that's actually you, the part of you that was a miracle when you were born, the part of you that was fearless, that limitless being. That's who you are. Everything else is just behaviors, things that you're creating, whether it's thoughts, emotions. These are all being still created by you. So detach so that you can know that there's something within you that's not all of those things. That's not, what the surface level, problems are. And then decide what it is that you do want. A lot of people never even get through this on their own, or they have a block. I have to ask the same question like 3 times sometimes, because like on my initial calls, or my coaching calls, because the thing about being in that survival mode or that stress and anger mode, really what's going on is you're in this fear mode, right? You're either on flight, fight, or freeze mode. So in that place, it's really, really difficult for anyone to access that creativity. So I'll ask them, okay, this is what's going on. I hear you. And what is your ideal version of your life? What is your ideal version of your work? What is your ideal version of your relationship? And some people literally can't even access it because they're so stuck in their fear zone. So consciously take a moment to say, okay, that's what's going on. And know that, any worries, any anxieties that you feel, that's actually you being creative, by the way. You're probably being in this anxiety mode because you're actually still creating that worst case scenario. So take that creativity, take that ability, and use it towards creating a really powerful best case scenario. And then you get to say, okay, now I'm clear what's really going on. Now I'm really clear where I'm headed. Now we have something to work with. So, yeah.
I love it. I'm sitting here and I'm kind of like, I'm so focused on what you're saying. I forget that I'm kind of like interviewing you, and I'm just sitting here like listening and learning, right? So what you're saying is I don't want to say spellbinding, but it's certainly captivating me. So if somebody decides that they want to work with you or someone like you, what would be the steps? Obviously, again, I just spoke about last time was the awareness, but what would be the steps that they would actually then start to pick up the phone, call you, and then at the end of the day, what would they achieve from working with you?
Yeah. So the first step is I typically like to, after they filled out a form or they made an appointment with me of some sort, the first step is for us to just connect on like human to human level. So, just to have a conversation, just to make sure that we would actually enjoy each other's company and we would be able to work together. Because for me, that is a huge part of, what I get to create. I love working with people who are like-minded as me, who are in that mindset of like, hey, this is what's going on now, and I'm committed to making this better. So we have kind of a connecting call just to make sure that we, really get the energy flowing. And then the second call is typically going really deep. And this is the clarity call. So I invite my potential clients into this call. And this is where we really get to go deeper. I really get to know what's going on in their life, what's been going on in their life. And they also have an opportunity to experience me as a coach. Because typically what we do is, I work with my clients for at least 3 months, 6 months. And I've had some clients who I've worked with over a year. So, for me, it's really, really important that we have that, energetic match, and that I get to know exactly what's going on. And in that conversation, we get to be really clear. And it's not just like, hey, let's see what's going wrong here. It's actually more about, let's really look at you as a dynamic human being. What's been going well? What has been going well? What are you proud of? What are you not proud of? What do you want to improve? So really kind of looking at each human in like that expansive level. And from that place, I get to say, okay, and knowing that you're all of those things, you're not just your problems, and you're not just your achievements, you're not just, any of those things. knowing that, where do you want to take this? Who do you get to be? And so when we have that point from A to B, now I get to present to you the roadmap that I have. And typically I cover 4 different things. The 4 pillars I cover are clarity. So obviously getting more and more clear in every single call, every single conversation. I think clarity is power. Clarity is sexy. This is where everything starts. Because, I think Dan Clark talks about this, one of the international speakers that we met at Habitude Warrior. He's like, even if you call an Uber, if they don't know where you are and they don't know where you're headed, no matter how beautiful of a car they have, they can't take you. They can't take you anywhere. So I have a vehicle that works so that I can help people through this process, and though we get to be super clear. And another thing is creating a powerful, unstoppable mindset. And this happens throughout all the different exercises that I give my clients, all the different coaching calls. So it could happen either incrementally and or massively. So we're really, really honing in and making sure that by understanding these emotions and how that's either keeping you at a destructive level or creative level, how we can create that unstoppable mindset. The third piece is mindfulness. A lot of people, the only reason that we ever stress or have anxiety is because we're not here. Because if we're actually in the present moment, we get to know that the present moment offers limitless possibilities. This is where magic happens. It's not in the future. It's not in the past. It's right here. What we do right now is going to start to create different outcomes. But a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of high performers, they live elsewhere. They're not here. Their family's asking, like, where are you? Where are you? You're here physically, but where are you? And then the last thing is accountability. And this is really powerful as well, because this is really the translator between their mindset and what's really shifting in their actual life. So the outcomes they can see is just having more flow and ease and peace in their life. I've had clients who lose up to like 21 pounds in like 3 months. I've had clients who quit antidepressants or smoking or drinking or, whatever they put their mind to, whatever their goals are. I'm there to stretch you. I'm there to expand you. I'm there to hold you accountable. I'm there to remind you how powerful you are. So, it's really about the process of remembering who they are. It's not really that I'm creating a new identity. It's really about accessing their limitless power they always had. So
I love it, man. To me, it's absolutely amazing. And when I heard you speak, I knew you were a rock star. But what is your past? I mean, because who you are and how you help people, the things you're talking about, I mean, is just, I don't want to say like a sage, but I mean, you just have so much knowledge, and what you're saying flows. And I've gone to so many events and I've talked to so many people, so I know everything you're saying is, it's accurate, and it is an appropriate step. But how did you achieve so much knowledge? How did you achieve the skill set to provide these things for people who might be 15, 20, 30 years older than you, and might in their minds think, well, I'm 25 years older than her. I've experienced more life. How can her or him, whoever it is, just that they're younger than them, help them? Because there is zero probability that what you're saying can help everybody, but some people might just have a block that's preventing them from getting past that. So what is something how did you learn all this? Because you are without a doubt a rock star. And yeah, when I met you at Habitude Warrior Conference, I'm so grateful for Eric Swanson. He brought his events. There's multiple people like you and others, but how did you achieve this type of knowledge and skill set that you have?
Yeah, Ronald, thank you for asking. And for me, first of all, even since I was like 3, 4 years old, or whenever I started writing in my little journal, I always ended my journals being like, I just want to leave this world a happier world. And like, I meant it. I think a lot of kids say that, but like, I really, really, really meant that every single time. So I knew that was always like, a passion of mine that I can lean into. And in the last 30 some years, I have experienced a lot of different life experiences that most people either A, never go through, or B, they don't go through until they're later in their life. I was actually born in South Korea, so I moved here to actually Austin, Texas when I was like 3, and then moved back to Korea, and then moved to Denver. And then, when I was actually moving here, I didn't really know English at the time, so I had to relearn the English language, and I had to learn the different culture, all of that. And I experienced one of my family members who attempted suicide. My dad suffered cancer for 2.5 years. And he passed away a couple of years ago, and that was actually really excruciating as well. And that was actually, I would say, one of the biggest turning points for me to realize, like, I don't have forever to live what I'm passionate about and be the message for what I truly am passionate about, what I am about. So yeah, I mean, all of those things. On the technical side, I've always been passionate about positive psychology, so I double majored in marketing and psychology, which is perfect for what I do. In college, I took some organizational human behavior classes, master level courses. I've had a coach for the last like 2.5 years of every sort you can imagine, and anyone from one of top influence coaches from Tony Robbins. I've had a spiritual coach, I had a book coach, I had a business coach, like all different kinds of coach to really help me support me in this process. So I've learned a lot, but in the end, I grew up with this thought process that it is all about the credentials, and the more and more that I lean into this space, what I'm really recognizing is that all of those things are great, but at the end of the day, what I think is my biggest credential is really just my clients' massive results, my clients' transformation. Because if I can do that for them over and over and over again, I know that I can do it for a lot of people in the future. And in the end, I think that's really what matters. Like I used to be one of those people that used to look for all the different kind of credentials. And though what I'm recognizing is none of that matters. It's all about just results. Can you just create that result that people want? So
I love it. And I agree with you 100%. It all comes down to results. But I want to go back. Credentials are important because sometimes people will look at who you are. If somebody is like a real estate agent and they need to hire them or something, and they have to have a license. In that respect, it's important. But what I really like about you and what I recognized from the first time I met you was that you are real, raw, and relatable. Your life experiences trump whatever, and I don't, forget Donald, right?
I was like, oh.
Yeah, because that's a red flag for some people, right? For other people, it's like, yeah. For some people, it's like, what did he say? And but you're real, raw, and you're relatable. What you've experienced in your life. You didn't even know how to speak English, and yet you probably speak it better than I do. And I was born here, right? So but you had to go through that process. You had to learn that, and then you went on using it as your second or third language, and you got multiple degrees in college. But so I wouldn't downplay your credentials, but at the end of those are important, and you have those. But what really I think you bring to the table, and it's just my opinion, right, is that you're real, raw, and relatable. The fact that your life experiences have given you insight and clarity, and then you're also able to help other people. Sometimes we're so focused on, there was a saying years ago, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I'm just going to butcher it, but it says something about don't focus on the tree, don't lose the tree for the forest. So when you're focusing on this one little thing, you don't see that big picture. So having someone like you who is outside of it, looking at it objectively, right, with no emotional attachment to the situation, can see it clearer and can give you the advice you need to, make some decisions that will help you going forward. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love the way that you speak, by the way. It just brings me so much peace. And I love that. And
I was going to let you speak in the big screen, but since you gave me a compliment, I had to jump back in.
Popping back on. Yeah. And I bring this into every aspect of my life and my business as much as I can. By all means, I'm not perfect. And though, what I really do like is bringing this level of, just like you said, rawness, just this level of realness, just level of like, we get to actually be playful. I think that's one of the things that a lot of my clients forget too. I have a lot of like masculine clients, and I don't mean masculine as like macho only, although there's some
Unlike me, right?
yeah. What I mean is like masculine as in they're so stuck in this idea that we got to build more, we got to do more, we got to achieve more. Those are all great. And I've been there too. I graduated with 2 degrees in 4 years. I was in like 3 different honor classes or honor societies. I was in a sorority. I graduated top of the class. Like, I've done that. And guess what? Like, I know what that feels like because I was still not happy. Even though like what people saw that as success, but like in the end, none of that really made me happy. And I know a lot of people out there are experiencing that as well. So what I love bringing into is like, hey, we get to dance, we get to have some flow, we get to actually create that structure where you get to be successful and you also get to have fun. You actually have to you get to have joy in your life. It's not like, what are we doing all this for?
I love it. And I love the fact you touched on, you had massive success. You had multiple degrees in 3 or 4 years. You were part of sororities. You were part of this. You were part of that. But you found that something was missing. And kind of like going back to what you said earlier, being a business owner and an entrepreneur and achieving some level of success, you wake up in the morning and you have your itinerary for the day, you have your goals, and you might be in a huge house and you might have phenomenal success, but you also have a feeling somewhere inside, right in your core, that something's missing. And, that's who we are today as business owners. But you've already felt that going back, multiple years. So, I just love what you do and how you help people. And I really hope that people can just connect to the fact that, there are times in life where we have certain levels of success by other people's standards.
Yeah.
But do we have that happiness? And if we can connect to that happiness and we can connect to making ourselves fuller and wholer as people, then whatever we do, business wise, will just quadruple. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. So you totally hit that on the head nail, because I have clients who they think they have like a drinking problem. They think that they have other personal problems, but what ends up happening is once we really look at their personal problems and we start to open that up to new possibilities, they can actually take that confidence and apply it to business, apply it to different aspects of their lives, which actually ends up increasing their income, increasing, their business, like, their revenue, all of that stuff. And and that abundance can come in different ways. Like what people value as successful, what people value as abundant could be different. And it's so beautiful when I get to see that. I have a client who made like $100,000 more last year, and he actually came back this year to work with me again because now he's hitting new limiting beliefs. So we're working through that. I have a client who got engaged, and when she first came to me, she was drinking every night. She was in many unhealthy relationships. She had just gotten a divorce. She was very low on herself, and now she's engaged and really excited. So like, that abundance and success can look at differently for everybody, but I do believe that it really goes back to understanding, like, what blocks are you experiencing in your personal life that could actually translate into business, because how we do one thing is how we do everything, and I internalize that more and more and more every single day. So
I had to pause it for a second. I had to find. I got 3 different monitors, so where was my mouse? Sorry, but yeah, I absolutely love it. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions, and I want to be respectful of your time. But if you had 3 tips that a business owner, entrepreneur, or someone who wants to become one, what could they do now to achieve even greater success as a foundation, or if they've already started their business going forward?
Okay, so someone who's going from either corporate to business owner, or someone who just started their business?
Exactly. They could be coming out of high school, or they could be, 25 years in corporate and they want to start a business, what are like 3 tips that they can have that from your experience to achieve success, whether it's mental, emotional, whatever it is going forward?
Yeah. Well, one is meditate. I study a lot of successful people, especially nowadays. Meditation is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself, for your mind, for your, body, your soul, all of it. Because if you can powerfully make a decision from, that calm place, it's just, things just work better. So meditate. Number 2 is think about what you're trying to create for your future clients or your current clients. So for example, I have a client right now who does like systems and like, automation and whatnot. And I asked him, I was like, hey, why is it that you do this? Like, what are you truly doing for your clients? And he said, I want to, what I do for them is, create more flow, create more freedom so that they can hang out with their family more and all this, which none of those things he was actually doing for himself. So, it's about alignment. Okay, you can't gift someone else something that you don't have. If I came on here and I looked miserable and I looked depressed, like, you probably wouldn't hire me to bring more happiness and flow and fulfillment into your life. So you get to know that you get to align your values every single day to what you're saying that you're gifting your client. So that, checking in with yourself for that alignment. Number 3 is, having, powerful conversations and not being afraid to have these conversations, whether it's with your wife, whether it's with your employees, whether it's with your colleagues, and like maybe stating like what your core value is in the beginning of like all conversations, so that you get to let them know what your standards are. Hey, I value integrity, communication, or whatever. What about you? So that you can make sure that you're not attracting like everyone all the time, but you're attracting the right type of people. And I think that was like the biggest thing that was difficult for me in the beginning, because you're like, oh, I want to work with everyone. And then, after a while, you're like, no, I really want to work with people that I like working with. And for that to happen, you get to communicate those standards and have those powerful and sometimes difficult conversations.
Yeah, but I love it. And it just, sometimes you're right. I mean, part of the whole process is, finding your niche, finding who your right customer client is, finding who you want to be around, and eliminating. I remember years ago when I was less articulate than I am today, when New Year's resolutions would come around, I would say, stay sucker free, right? And that basically meant people who were not on the same wavelength, people who aren't trying to elevate. So I love how you just phrased that in a much more eloquent way than I said, right? But so if somebody wanted to work with you, I mean, we're coming to the close. I mean, we can talk for another 15, 20 minutes, whatever your time frame allows. But again, I want to be respectful of your time. But, to be more impactful, if somebody wanted to achieve even greater success, I know you gave those 3 tips, but, just cut to the core. What is the bottom line?
You attract what you're being. So focus on your energy, focus on your emotional state. Because in the end, we're doing all this so we can feel good, we can be happy, we can be fulfilled. So create that first. And this is why my book is called Creating Your Own Happiness. Create that first, because if your cup is not full, you're pouring out of a cup that's going to be empty soon. So overflow your cup. Become truly fulfilled first, so that you can start to create and add value to the world from a place of abundance and overflowing.
I love it. And that goes back to, like Jim Rohn says, he talks about working on yourself more than you do your job or your business. You know what I mean? Once you start to work on yourself more, then whatever you do for the world will just have more value. And not just more value, but you're just going to have a better life. In closing, is there anything you'd like to say? I mean, have we left anything on the table that you'd like the listeners to know?
No, not really. Ronald, I just really appreciate you for having me here. It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a few months, and we get to see each other virtually here. And yeah, I'm just really grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I get to be in front of your audience. I appreciate what you're doing, because essentially what you're doing is helping people like me, like, really get the message out. And, we need that help.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate you.
And I love it. And I love the fact that, people of your caliber will give your time to get that message out. There are so many more people who actually need to hear this. And there, who knows how many people are actually listening to this live, but then we push it out on social medias for the reruns and the audio to the radio station. So many more people, they might not hear it today in the hour that we have spent here, the 40 minutes or so that we spent here. But over the next 6 months, there's literally going to be a couple of 100,000 people that hear this. And what you had to say, I know is going to help them. And I hope that people will look at, down the bottom here in this banner that's scrolling, that they will text Success Secrets to that number, and you will get a PDF for stress management and the happiness district or addict. What is that?
Yes, thehappinessaddict@gmail.com. So if you guys email me there, we can connect, and I'd be happy to send you a PDF for stress management and or actually meditation. So yeah, feel free to connect with me.
I love it. Yuri, you've been excellent. I mean, this is wonderful. So many people are going to benefit now and in the future from hearing this. So thank you for blessing everybody with your experience and your expertise. We're grateful. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
You as well.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. That was Yuri Choi on the Success Secrets Revealed live stream show. And you're also going to hear this on my radio show, which is the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming on WCAP 980 AM every Monday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I want to let you know that Yuri Choi is a rock star. If you're not familiar who she is, look at the text down below. Even though I'm talking right now, you're going to see this text down below. Contact her, because you can achieve a tremendous amount of success in life. And, what are we talking about? Houses, cars, debt-free, all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, if inside you're not happy, what did you really achieve? So again, check out Yuri Choi, and you've been listening to Yuri Choi on the Success Secrets Revealed radio show, which is promoted by RCS Online Solutions, which is my company where we help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success in short order. You can have the best website, the best product, the best service, but if people can't find you, you don't have anything, right? So awareness equals opportunity, and that's what we do. We get you in front of your customers and clients. At the end of the day, I want you to be as successful as possible. So I hope you have a great day, everybody. Bye for now.